Good afternoon, everybody. Professor Van Duüren is going to be here in any second. Today is going to be the second master class of this line of master's class we've been doing. Welcome, Professor Olivier Van Duüren. And we're going to have a couple of more classes during the next few weeks. Today's masterclass is how to succeed in digital transformation, customers at heart, people as the soul, and digital as the oxygen. This masterclass is going to be given by Professor Olivier Van Duüren, who is a public speaker, is the founder of the Dualarity, also executive whisperer, and has been a Microsoft executive. He's been in Microsoft for approximately 22 years. And now he is professor of Sigurat Institute of Innovation and Technology. Without further ado, please welcome Professor Van Duüren.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. I'm going to talk today about the how to succeed in digital transformation by putting customer at the heart, people as a soul, and valuing digital as the oxygen. I'm pleased to be here talking to you, and as part of the Sigurat program of the masterclass. This session is more like a kind of a teaser for the module that is going to be developed and is being developed for the master course. So you have a full master program, and this is just one part of it. And the module that I'm going to run has multiple facets, talk about trends and impacts on the future, how you build a future-proof organization, leadership and people, how you succeed in transformation, and what is the implication on human resources, and how do we move from a human resource to human realization. This course is just a snapshot because it's a full module, so this is just a snapshot. My background, I'm a Belgian in heart and soul. You can see Tintin, which is a famous comic character in Belgium, and I love his passion, I love his constant learning mode, and he's constant in a world of learning. And I've felt that I've been doing this for the last 25 or 30 years. Constant learning will be the new DNA of the future world, is how do you do lifelong learning. And he has a tremendous passion for things. He learns, he fails, he learns from failure, and he absorbs and he has colorful encounters. And therefore, mine has been, for the last 22 years, has been in a corporation in Microsoft, and I moved a year ago to become an entrepreneur. I decided that I wanted to build my own business, and I built a Dualarity. And I focus on how I can help teams and individuals and businesses to find the sparkle in their personal and business transformation. How do you find a balance between performing and transforming at the same time? I had to cut a big umbilical cord. I don't know if anyone on the call is 22 years in the company, but it takes a lot of courage to cut down, and I feel I've had a great pleasure doing so since last 12 months. And so what I'm going to talk about is specifically when I worked around the globe, and I worked out of Seattle, New York, and London, and Paris, and traveled around the world working with startups, small teams, big customers, done almost all jobs from sales, marketing, operations, helping to do acquisitions, divestments, change management, strategy. I was wondering, why do some people or businesses sparkle? In English, it's the fire in the eye, and in French, it's les yeux qui pétillent. What are the patterns? And I discovered there were 3 patterns. First of all, the first one, for those that sparkle, were able to see and sense around them. They were able to see the digital trends, the consumer trends, the socioeconomic trends, and not only see what is happening around them, but what does it mean for me? But not everyone sees everything, of course, but this is a lean forward experience. You are curious to see the world around you, and you're trying to define and determine the implication for yourself, for your sense. No, some people that sense or see are getting scared. Therefore, you have to energize yourself or to equip yourself with the right strategies and the principles to respond to what you see. And we'll talk about some principles today and some strategies on digital transformation, on how you build a future-proof organization. And there's a few principles, and one of them is if you want to transform correctly in the future, you have not only to start transforming others, but before you do so, start transforming yourself. If you want to lead others, start leading yourself. And those that really sparkled were able not only to see and respond with the right principles and strategies, they were able to find balance between performing and transforming. And this is the biggest challenge. How do you perform a big corporation, a medium-sized corporation, whatever, family-owned business, and how do you transform at the same time? And to help on explaining the seeing and energizing, and you will see a very simple 4 quadrants, and people and teams and businesses can be in 4 quadrants. On the horizontal axis, you remember I was talking about seeing, you can see a lot, so you can be blind. And the vertical axis, you can have a lot of energy or the right principles and strategies, or low energy, low strategy and principles. And people and teams can be in 4 quadrants. You can or be mature, or be healthy, or be injured and scared. For those that are people, individuals, or teams, or businesses that are in mature space, are those that have seen a lot, still see a lot by experience, and have the right strategies. They often have operational excellence. They are very strong performing teams. They have digital as an important element in their strategy. They have built strong customers, and they know how it works. They are very highly performing companies or individuals. Every four quadrant has also a risk. Like, for example, mature can be complacency. Complacency means I've done this always like this. Why would I change? Because I'm performing today. And then you have people or businesses that are healthy, and those are people or businesses that haven't seen everything or are willing not to see everything. They are blind, or they are blind by not having enough experience, not enough years around, or they are willing to take risks. They are saying, we don't know exactly how the future looks like we have today, or we are taking risks. Those are often transforming companies. Startups are in there, entrepreneurs. In some big organization, you can have departments doing that. And those both of them, healthy, mature, are highly energized and can see or decide not to see. And then you have those who have low energy and the wrong strategies. You can end up being injured. Injured means that you have seen a lot, you still see a lot, but you're tired. You often have leadership to manage the past. You don't know how to deal with digital, and you're probably one of those people that are part of the no but however people. Yes, no, yes, but, yes, however. And you surround yourself with people that don't see the opportunities. They have also a challenge on defining their purpose. They have a challenge on keeping their customers. And then on the worst case, when you are completely blind and you don't know how to deal with it, you get in a scared environment. Those are burnout and depression on an individual basis, and on a business, you can lose your customers, you can go bankrupt, you can be acquired, or you can need to divest in some areas of your business. Now, the dualarity is basically how do you transform and perform? How do you remain a mature business that is performing while you transform some pieces of your organization? And individuals move around during the day. Businesses will slowly move, but every business goes to the different quadrants, and I'll give you some examples. On the scale side, you have BlackBerry, Nokia, and Motorola. When 10 years ago the first iPhone was launched, and you probably remember most of those 3 brands, specifically BlackBerry and Nokia, I'm sure all of you remember. In 2007, when the first iPhone was launched, Nokia, or let's say the CEO of Microsoft, who acquired Nokia, said at the time that nobody would ever buy a phone, an iPhone, for $799. The BlackBerry CEO said that the only reason why they people buy a productivity phone was to be productive, not to do entertainment and listen to music. Why would anyone be at the same time a consumer, at the same time a business owner of a phone? And we know what happened with those brands. They disappeared, they were acquired. And brands still exist, but and not at all anymore what they used to be. They were a high-performing organization. On the injured, you will have Walmart as an example. Walmart is one of the biggest, probably is the biggest retailer in the world. They have 2.2 million people working. But Walmart is a retail biggest retailer in the world. They are organized, and their DNA and culture is about the retail experience in store. So they have basically people in the store that go into the store and massively have an abundance of offering. Now, when Amazon and others came on, they had some challenges. They are not designed to do the e-commerce perspective, and Walmart is trying to change the ship. But at that time, they are injured, and maybe still today. However, they're coming back. That's why I said Walmart is moving up again. They are trying to look at how they purchased Jet.com, one of the biggest e-commerce platforms in the US. They purchased other companies to innovate. So what they decided, instead of doing innovation inside out, they're doing acquisition to move. And then you have some others that are in the performing area. People like Microsoft, which I was part of. Even Microsoft 3 years ago was in the injured. We were not cool then anymore 3 years ago. And Microsoft, with a new CEO, came on, and he's performing again as a company, and he's even trying to be in transformational. You have brands like General Electric, who suddenly redesigned their purpose and redefined what they had to do for the future. And then you have the other brands that you know of, Amazon and Lego and Tesla, that are very highly transformative. But they're also performing, as I mentioned, they are moving around, because Tesla specifically, you might argue this is a very transformational company, but they're taking big risks for the energy plantations, the energy cars, the Hyperloop, and other stuff they are doing. But those brands are transforming at nature. Often they have technology as their core, and they have been transforming. And all of them are trying to move, and Apple is on the right side. Even Apple I put on the performing level, because they are more evolving. The innovation is less transformative as they used to be. But again, all of them are moving. What they are trying to do is to find balance and to be in the dualarity, which is basically how do I perform being a mature company and transform being a healthy company. And seeing it is the #1 starting point. If you want to know where you're heading, start seeing around you. Now, most people live in what Charles Dickens wrote in Tale of Two Cities. It was a book written between the French Revolution and the Industrial Revolution in England. And he wrote, the first page was about, it was the best of times, the worst of times, and the age of wisdom and the season of darkness. And this is exactly where we are living today. Some people view the world as half glass full, half glass empty. I do believe strongly that you should already be pleased to have a glass, because some 700, 900 million people don't even have a glass to fill it. So let's start filling it. And the reason why is that they see so many changes around them. We're not going to go through the digital trends, which I normally do, but there are consumer trends, geopolitical changes, presidents that are suddenly heading some countries where we question their leadership. We have refugees going on. So people are very scared in that environment and see that things are changing. Is it a disruption? I don't like the word disruption, because the only disruption we had, and they talk about, you know, disrupt or die, is 65 million years ago, when a meteor hit Mexico and basically annihilated all human life on Earth, tsunamis, and the end of the dinosaurs. This was a true disruption. So what are we living in today? What we're living in today is basically the Industrial Revolution 4.0. And we had 4 of them so far. Before the first one, the Mechanical Industrial Revolution in 1784, we had horsepower and manual labor, which was helping us to advance as humans. It was purely physical. Then we had the Mechanical Revolution 1.0. And we had 2.0 electrical revolution, the mass production, the Ford assembly manufacturing plants, as you might remember from the books, because none of us were born at the time. And then we had the 3.0 revolution, which was the internet, where ARPANET, as you might, the predecessor of the internet, which was designed in 1969 for military to continue communicating in times of war. And then in 1993-94, the internet was launched. The first www.com were launched. And it helped us to globalize a lot of things. Now the 4.0 is probably the one with the biggest impact. I've been now 25, my whole life in the industry, and I've never seen the pace of change that is happening now. The pace of change in the sense that we're talking about the phygital, where the frontier between the physical and the computer is disappearing. And the impact on society will be bigger than the impact on industry. And for the first time, if you look at the first industry revolution, it was all about empowering corporations. While today, the digital revolution 4.0 is about empowering people. It is the phygital, it is about the implications to have on people, human-centric. And this is the big change we have in this revolution 4.0. And this will have an impact on the future of work. I've put together like a slide that summarizes from 7 researchers, and one of the most famous one is the University of Oxford, that did one on what is the probability of automation of a job, and if you have any of those jobs, you know where you might end. And it's true that more and more generic routine jobs will be replaced by technology, by artificial intelligence, by robots, by drones, by machine learning, by automation. And we already see the movement for the past few years. What will remain is all jobs that demand a high creativity and emotional intelligence. And the good thing is that hopefully the most boring parts of our jobs will be automated. And you will see on the right side, we call them the blue-collar jobs, the white-collar jobs, and pink-collar jobs. The blue-collar jobs are the jobs that are in manual labor. And this will be led by robots. And we already see this in many countries. And the underdeveloped countries, or even China or Asia, and some markets that have a lot of labor, manual labor, they see a replacement by robots. Some companies, we talk about the dark factories already, where you don't need to put any light on, it's only robots. Foxconn, for example, had 60,000 robots working for them in dark factories, and you will see a lot of implications. Some markets might even be impacted, from 70 to 80% of the manual labor might be impacted by the evolution. And then we have the white-collar jobs. This is people that work predominantly or almost only in office and cubicles and admin, and this is where artificial intelligence will lead. And then the pink-collar jobs, many of the jobs, everybody else, service industry, will be led by robots, combination of drones and artificial intelligence. And today we see the first signs in medicine, in law and investment, in finance, journalism, and of course also in HR, where you see some automation and changes. Now there will be some new jobs, because we always talk about what are jobs that are being disappearing. Because humans, because there are 2 things they want to do. They will remain greedy to have more and invent new things, and they will be creative. That's why they will invent new jobs, drone drivers, artificial therapists, urban shepherds. You will have a lot of new roles that will thrive in the new world. Will this be enough to compensate what we lose? We don't know. Maybe you will work less, which will be probably for many people solving a problem of highly depression and pressure and stress that people have. But the future of work is definitely going to be impacted. And so, if you look at the context in a very brief summary, which will be explained much more detailed in the module of the master program, it is finding a balance between performing and transforming. Performing is about delivering on commitments. If you are an individual or a team or a business, you have to perform. This is what you deliver from a profit and loss, from your KPIs, from what you promise to your shareholders. This is being asked of you. This is an obvious thing. If you don't deliver, the disappointment will be high. This is what I would call the operation excellence, the center course in that. But the belief in your future from your shareholders, stakeholders, your employees, everyone who works with you is, are you able to transform? Do you have, this is power. Because if you're able to transform with your customers, with your employees, with your shareholders, with everyone, this is where you have power. And this is what I would call innovation excellence. Innovation in the sense of innovating your products, your services, your business model, your operating model. It is how do you innovate? And how do you then take operational excellence, which is much more doing and execution, combined with innovation excellence, which is the creativity side of it? Operational excellence is a profit of today. Innovation excellence is a profit of tomorrow. And balancing that is the biggest act you can have, where you show performance and you show the power to transform for the future. And to do that, there's a few future-proof transformation leadership capabilities you need to have. And I've taken the picture of Mandela. It's maybe an easy one, but I was reading an article when I was in South Africa in Cape Town, and I felt reading the article that the way I was looking at the world of what is a true transformational leader in the days we are living now, with all the demographics from millennials generations across the board, is you have to do a few things. First of all, if you want to transform, make sure you know where you're going. You can't just be reactive to what is happening outside. Too many people are fear of missing out. They are defensively defining a strategy for digital. But you have to know where you're going. What is your North Star? If you want to transform successfully, you have to inspire with action and authenticity. You can't just do lip service. You have to roll up your sleeves and make sure you're authentic in your transformation. And you have to move away from thinking about customers to thinking like customers, which is very different. You have to open your mindset. Open your mindset means move away from your fixed mindset. And above all, and everybody has an ego, your ego can't be bigger than your talent. If your ego is bigger than your talent, this means that you're defensive on changes. One, you don't want to show weakness, or two, you don't want to allow new thinkings and new creativity to come in the organization. And then you have to learn to fail successfully. Because in the age of today, you can't work on strategies of transformation that takes years to implement. You have to go faster. And sometimes you will experiment and learn from that. You have to future-proof your organization. You have to do field journalism, which means communicate, because as people don't see what you see, make sure you continuously share with them what you see as a leader, why you're making a transformation, what you're seeing that's happening inside the company and outside the company. And then you have to have a compelling purpose. Why are you doing what you do? Because that's what rallied the troops or the people or everybody is connected with you to move ahead towards your North Star. And then find your coalition of the willing. The coalition of the willing is basically find those people, the yes we can type of mentality, those people that are willing to transform and becomes your ambassador across the organization. And they are not only hierarchical. It is not by nominating vice presidents and senior project management and nominating yourself. It's also to ask the organization who wants to join some of the projects that you're working on, because those will be the ambassadors and they will be contagious in the organization. Now, future-proof organizations, there's a different ways of looking at this, and we look at two different extreme versions. One is the startup version of an organization, and then you have the incumbents, the traditional organization. And if you look at the startup, and this is an extreme view, it is not at all the way I would describe startups, but you could argue that some people that are maybe living at the other side in big traditional companies, they would say that, you know, a startup, they have a chief idea officer, a VP of hype, a VP of disruption, a director of overpromise, a director of strategy, a director of shiny new things, and then a manager of business results is vacant in the organization. That's what the traditional people that are in performing stage would say of some startups, extreme version of it. But what do incumbents, maybe startups, would say about the bigger companies? In some organization, they have a chief ID killer with a VP of no, a VP stay on course, they have director of analysis paralysis, a director of bureaucracy and rigidity, and then they have a manager on new growth IDs vacant somewhere in the organization. Now, I know this is not true for many companies, but this is the way some people looked at how the world is being run today. And the essence of building a future-proof organization is a handshake. We need to find a way of getting agility, self-managed, the lean organization, the naive organization, learning to fail fast, taking risk transformational mindset, open mindset of startup, combined with the positive side of the incumbent, which is they know how to run a business, they know how to perform, most often profitable, they know how to deal with customers, they know how to develop people in the organization. And how do you do a handshake between those two? There's a lot of things to be discussed of what you can do to build your future-proof organization. What is important, I think, is to look at, as I mentioned, the industrial revolutions and how humankind evolved from manual labor and horsepower to what we are now today in Industrial Revolution 4.0. Also, organization changed. And there's a great book, Reinventing Organization, that I try to summarize in this slide, where they are making an analogy, and in those ages, we also created new types of organizations. And there are 5 metaphors. First of all, we started by having wolf packs. And hundreds of years ago, we were living like wolf packs. It was driven by power, by fear, and the strongest was at the top. And it was very authoritative command at the center stage. And if you were weak, you would get killed or somebody would replace you. We still have this in street gangs, we have this in mafia and tribal form of cities, and where you have those type of metaphor where the wolf pack, the strongest, is still heading the whole pack. Then we move to more military type of metaphor, where we had more hierarchy. We created to have stability in organization, and it was all driven about control. And we also had some former process, we had former roles, we had long-term perspectives. And this military still exists, of course, in the military. We still exist in public schools, and many of them, in governments, and traditional churches or religious organizations, like the Catholic Church with the Pope on top, and very strongly defined whose role is in the organization. And then we moved, probably more the Industrial Revolution 2.0, 3.0 to 2.0 to the mechanical evolution of organization. The mechanical is where basically you oil the mechanics to be competitive, to drive your profit. And we started talking about innovation in a company, so innovating your products, acquiring companies to innovate. We started to have scorecards. You know, scorecard is the only reason why we have scorecard is to pinpoint someone if it's red or yellow in the organization. And it still exists in many larger corporations and public universities. And then we are moving the last 20 years, 15 years, probably around after the millennial change in 2000, after the crisis, people suddenly said, oh, we have to be more than just profit. What about delighting our customers? We have to have shared values. We have to have stakeholder balance. We need to have culture beyond strategy. We have to empower people. And then the new paradigm, and some organizations are talking about this, and you see this also in some startups, is where you have self-managed organizations, where the purpose is evolving the organization. And the wholeness means that, you know, some people say, by the way, I'm different at my work than I'm at home. You become one. You feel like you're always at the maximum of your talents at your work. And you define a higher purpose. And this is what I call the teal organization, which is the color, as you might know. But I do believe that there will be a mix in most companies, and the bigger you are, you will need to find a way of how can I mix the mechanical metaphor with the family metaphor and still give enough self-managed, self-development, startup type of mentality. We have more self-control in the teams. And the essence of the future will be, how do I find a mix by delivering profit, delighting my customer and sharing values, and having a higher purpose with self-managed teams. And succeeding in your transformation, if you sum it up, I would call it, I remove the word digital, because is there any transformation that has no digital? And it is not about defining your digital strategy, it is defining your business strategy ready for the digital age. And to do that, I strongly believe you have to have 3 strong pillars. 1, you have to put the customer at the heart, you have to value people as a soul, and you have to drive digital as the oxygen. And those 3 have to be aligned, can only succeed if you know what your company's purpose, your North Star, why you're doing it, and what your ambitions are. Customer at the heart means you think you like customers, not about customers. You define a frictionless experience. What does it take to be frictionless? How do you leverage data and systems of intelligence to serve your customers? You know, if you know so much about me as a customer, why don't you surprise me with a new offering, with a new service? And how do you do that? Creating a fan base, which is more than just being satisfied as a customer. Because if you have satisfied customers, the only thing they say is that they're not dissatisfied. And if your competitor finds a better experience or service, they might run away. So what does it take, you have to ask yourself, to create true fans of my product and my service? So customer experience, the customer at the heart. People as a soul, I think we talked about this. How do you define dynamic hierarchies? How do you have an open mindset? How do you reward transformation versus just short-term performance, where many companies are looking at the sales result, not at transformational results? How do you acquire a DNA that is a mix of startups and the traditional way of looking at organizations? How do you have the right culture? And then digital as the oxygen and the master program, there's a lot of focus on also in this, is how do you then define the right business model and the operational model to create a connected system of intelligence. But those three have to be aligned to a purpose. You have to know why you are doing your transformation. Where are you heading and why? And what is the ambition you have? And maybe I can elaborate a little bit further by taking Lego as an example. We'll talk about more examples in the module as part of the master program. But let me take Lego. Lego in 2004, and probably you all know Lego, in 2004, Vol Knutsdorp, who was appointed as new CEO, Lego had big challenges. They had financial challenges, they had growth challenges. And the new CEO came on, and he didn't start with defining a digital strategy, he didn't start defining a new people strategy, whatever. The first thing he did is, he defined the purpose. And the purpose, he said, is we are about inspiring and developing the builders of tomorrow. It is critical if you want to get the heart and the minds of people with you, and that's the difference between a mission statement and a purpose. A mission statement captures the mind, a purpose captures the mind and touches the heart, because people want to rally for that. And he started defining his ambition, and he started changing things on the floor. For example, if you would fail, some managers or someone would fail in the organization, he would not blame you for failure. He would blame you for failing for asking help, and blame your peers for not giving help. So he would create that team environment that everybody's working for each other, not for their own silos. He would relax the top-down management style, and he would reduce layers. Customer at the heart. He was figuring out, if we have so many fans for a product, why don't we co-create? Why don't we do product creation? And today they have 120,000 volunteers helping them to co-create the customer experience, their new products, from all ages. And a good example is that they just released a couple of months ago the Rolling Stone version and the Beatle version of Lego, because they know there is a big portion of Lego fans out there that are older than 25 or 18 or 6 years old. And it's amazing smart licensing with Star Wars and Harry Potter and others. And then they looked at the digital offline-online platform, and they connected an offline-online world building on the strength of a very strong digital enterprise platform, with VIP platforms, with ticketing services, with acquisition to acquire product, to test products. And in the backbone, the whole supply chain, also looking at sustainability. What is our role in sustainability if you have so many Lego blocks around the world? Today, around, I think, 600 billion parts are somewhere around in many households around the world. And then you can see where they are. They've grown in the time, and I've just shown us the figure. It took of course time, it doesn't happen overnight, but they moved from 2.3 billion in 2010 to almost 5.2 billion in 2015, and they did like 5.8 in 2016. They became the finance world's most powerful brand. And I discovered by doing research, this is just a high-level summary, is that Lego is a better investment than gold. And if you invested in Lego for the past 10 years and you don't touch the box, you put it on the ceiling, it would have a return on investment of 12% every year. But that's a side note. But you see the company purpose, they put those 3 pillars in there and they define the ambition where they want to go. Because it is a purpose economy. The way I looked at it, and there's a saying is called Ikigai, Japanese for reason for being, is if you love what you do and the world needs a piece of it, you're getting paid for it and you're good at it, you will find passion, mission, profession, vocation, you will find your purpose. When I moved from a big corporation to become an entrepreneur, I figured out what is the things that I love. And it's the same when you do this for a company. The same happened, I don't know if you remember the purpose of Apple. When Steve Jobs started, he said, I want to make a contribution to the world by making tools for the mind that advance humankind. Remember when the first the iPod was launched with 500 songs on it? There was food for the brain. Just listening to that music, suddenly having 500 songs available for you. The same thing in the United States. If you look at the purpose, I mean, you look at Obama, he had a strong purpose, it was about yes, we can. Trump had, and we might argue about Trump and what he is as a leader, but Trump said, make America great again. He spoke as a purpose and addressed some people in the audience to go for it. Unfortunately, Hillary Clinton didn't have a great purpose. He was more saying, vote for me, I'll be the first female president. Vote for me because I'm the most experienced politician around in the United States that can do the role. Tomorrowland, this is a great concert festival, dance festival, huge festival that has a great purpose: live tomorrow, live today, live unite forever. And then you would find IKEA, who create a better life, everyday life for people. Uber evolved the way the world moves. Even General Electric, with Jim Immelt on board a couple of years ago, he redefined one of the biggest companies on this planet. And he said, we have to thrive in the next industrial era and to build, move power, and cure the world. Remember, it used to be very much a mission statement. Now it's a mission statement with something that you want to go for. When you wake up, you want to work for that company. When you buy a share, you know that General Electric is helping to cure the world. Of course, by also making money doing it, but they have a bigger cause than just the profit, as you might remember. They have a bigger purpose in life. So, in a nutshell, a very fast scan, you have to see and sense, and I just gave you some seeing and sensing. You have to respond to that, how you build your future-proof organization, how do you apply transformation and leadership, how do you put customer and people and digital as the oxygen, as the heart or as the soul of the company. And then you can find balance between performing while transforming. A reminder, what I just discussed is just a small piece of the module that will be run in the full master program. And I think we now have time to take some questions. We still have a few minutes to do so, so I'm open to questions through the chat session or via email to the organization. Thank you very much for listening.
Hello, thank you, Professor Van Duüren, for your great class. Okay, I really hope everyone, we still have some chance. Okay, we have some time in order for the chat questions. We already got some in the email. So in the chats, you can also send the questions that you have. Okay, one is from Laya. It says, from your experience in Microsoft, what did you do that you really could see the satisfaction on the customers?
What did I do, or did Microsoft do? Microsoft did a lot.
Your ideas, I guess, it was the question.
Yeah, I think as I mentioned, so for example, if you become, like Microsoft went through different phases, we went through different phases in the course of a year. And one point, when you start having too much success, admiration for the company starts to become envy to the company. And when you start having too much success, you become complacent. And I think in the course of our trajectory in the past 35 years, we have had a point where we were so successful, where Bill Gates was seen as the golden boy, where you now have people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg. And sometimes you forget, you start developing things without having the customer in mind. And I think the company shifted massively on saying, we can't develop products and features because we believe they are the right features. We have to have our customers be involved in the way we design our products. And I think the culture changed to become that, and the new CEO for the past 3 years has also that mindset of opening our mindsets. I think we move from a fixed mindset where you are, when you are too successful and at some point you become having a fixed mindset, you have to open up and learn from others. You have to partner. I think one of the biggest things we've done for the customer in the past 5 years, I think, is to partner. Instead of saying, like, you have the, you have the extreme version like a closed system like Apple, or other systems like Oracle and IBM and SAP. Microsoft the last 5 years suddenly started embracing all parties. We started figuring out that customers have a multi-flavor at their site, and we had to integrate what we've done. We have to work together with Salesforce.com. We have to work together with SAP, or they have, because I left the company a year ago. So they signed new partnerships, which made a tremendous shift. And then the purpose, I think, redefining the purpose. What are we? What are they? And they really defined the purpose of Microsoft. I myself worked on multiple strategies. I worked on the open source platform, which was a secret project. What do we do with open source? Because they were infringing a lot of patents of Microsoft, like they were infringing patents of other companies. We, instead of suing them, we partner with them. We try to find out what can we do, and we know, and they now have open source solutions and platform, and even foster that domain. So I think it's changing the culture, making sure you have open mindsets, and be very careful of complacency, and again go back to partnerships and customers as your partner. I think that's the biggest change that happened in the last few years with Microsoft.
Thank you. The next one is from Paul. It says, do you think artificial intelligence will be able to put the customer at the artificial heart?
At the artificial heart. So intelligence is growing in the capacity. However, you could argue it's very much artificial, not as intelligent yet. Because what is artificial intelligence? It's machine learning. It's deep machines that are trying to mimic intelligence and learn from things that are happening around them. Now, there's a lot of evolution in there. And intelligence, what humans are distinctive of any machine today is that, I mean, intelligence, you have different definitions. You have mathematical intelligence, you have spatial intelligence, musical intelligence. But what humans have is that gut feeling, that feeling in their guts that is not described as rational intelligence. And I think artificial intelligence, if we manage this well, because there's always a dark side of it and a good side. The world today is saying, will AI rule the world when they surpass human intelligence? I think artificial intelligence can solve a lot of problems of the world, sustainability problems, problem of poverty, of cancer, a lot of things, but also remove away or automate things, routine jobs, even recruiting. I mean, there are technologies now, even chatbots, where you can have the first level of interview being done by artificial intelligence chatbots. It removes a conscious bias, right? Because, so I think there will be in many industries, in chemical industries, in finance, there will be a lot of function for artificial intelligence. But will they be able to replace humans? I think the best artificial intelligence will be augmented intelligence, which means humans plus AI will be the best AI. And AI defined not as artificial, but as augmenting human intelligence. Does that make sense?
Thank you. The next question says, I'm a business strategist from Abu Dhabi port. How could digital transformation for a company like that and logistics and port transit will help?
You're in the port handling business. Port handling is a very B2B type of environment. I think the essence with port handling, because as a whole port handling, you are depending on the number of goods that goes through the port, if I understand well, your business. If you do that, you're depending on what is happening with innovation, like 3D printing. I mean, relocation of fabrics, where 3D printing might happen closer to you. The shipping goods might change. The self-driving aspect of things, the self-automated drones that will automate port handling. Your customers might be very different than you used to have, where you had China as a fabric and maybe Asia as a fabric. You might have more closely transportation and close by to your port. It is to look at what is your purpose of a port handling? What is the port handling of today? And how do you embrace all the technology innovation that are happening? Because port handling, so many things you can innovate, automate, but also redefine your business. Is it more than just port handling? Can you also sell it as a service to others? I know there's some port handling businesses looking at even selling their services to competitors as a platform, how you service from a shipping goods to delivery of goods. I think there's so many ways you can do that. Port handling, I think, has been quite steady the past, probably the past, since the last 5 years, a tremendous change you see there, and a lot of competition happening. But if you look at the way urbanization will happen, more people will move to urban cities. Massive migration, if just imagine if some pieces of the world gets more productive because they get access to internet. If they get access to internet, they might start traveling around the world. More people will go to urban cities. What does it mean for port handling? You have to know what the world view, you have to see what is happening. So seeing, I think, will happen. You have to see what the world is going. You have to see how you automate a lot of stuff you can do, and then look at what are your customers and redefine your customers you can have today or tomorrow. Other question?
Yeah, thank you for the answer. This question is a bit more generic. The other one was very, very specific. Really, really good question, a really good answer. Thank you very much. This one says, what does digital transformation really mean for today's business leaders?
What does digital transformation mean for business leaders? I think there's two words, it's digital and transformation. I think most people look at digital transformation too much from a technology standpoint. I think if you ask people what it is, it's innovation. They would mention robots, drones, and artificial intelligence, data, big data. They would look at this very much from transformation driven by technology. However, I do believe that business leaders should see, as I mentioned, as a business strategy to be ready for the digital age. And how do you do that? And digital transformation is basically how do you redefine your business model, your operations, your services and products that has a better employee experience, a better customer experience, a better stakeholder experience. It is basically at the essence of the core of the company. And the question is, if you're a large corporation, how do you do that by infusing innovative mindsets? And there's a lot of, hackathons and accelerator programs, incubator programs, you have corporate venturing. You have to find out, how can I innovate fast enough to change also the culture inside? And the triggers of digital transformation can be very different. Some people want to do this because they want to have a foot, they keep a foot in the ground, they want to know what's happening out there. Some of them want to change the culture, to be more innovative, to be more creative. Some want to acquire and create a new market or new business. But I think that digital transformation itself and digital are two main components, and transformation means all the aspects of the organization and not just the technology.
And now the last question is, where should the business start with digital transformation? I would imagine in which level or in which department should start the big digital transformation?
I'm less, that's my experience with working with customers. Where it starts, I'm less, where it starts doesn't matter, to be honest. Suddenly it will start in the CIO department, some say in the CMO department, some say we need to hire a chief digital officer. What I do know is that the leadership as a whole has to set the conditions to succeed in digital transformation. Where it then resides, it doesn't matter for me so much. It has to be the leadership that drives that digital transformation that is critical to move ahead with that. And then organizationally, you have to figure out is how much people, how much project you will run, how do you bridge to the startup world, what is the best way to innovate. But it is this leadership that has set the conditions. And for me, the leadership has to answer 4 questions. One is, what is the purpose of the transformation? 2, what is their worldview? Remember I said, share with people what you're seeing. So what is the worldview to support that purpose? The 3rd thing is define your ambitions, 2 or 3 or 4 big ambitions. And 4, the leadership has to define what is the culture that will support my purpose, my worldview, my ambitions to deliver on my bigger purpose. So I would say leadership set the condition to succeed, where it resides from an ownership to be debated, but define the purpose. What is the worldview? What do you see that you need to share with your customers, employees, and stakeholders? Define your 3 or 4 big ambitions, and what is the culture that I need to foster that and to transform to be successful and thrive again, or continue to thrive in the near future.
Thank you very much, Professor Van Duüren. Now, if you want to know more about the master program, you should stick a while and see the presentation I'm going to do. If you want to contact the professor, you can find him in his LinkedIn and Twitter. And now we're going to start a bit for me to talk to you a little bit about the digital transformation global master. Okay. And now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the institute. Sigurat has been for more than 16 years giving on the e-learning business, providing certified qualifications for many different type of courses. We started with BIM, architecture, engineering, and now we're starting with business areas. As I told you, we've been for more than 15 years, 40 different programs in 3 different languages, more than 200 professors, 65,000 alumni. The good thing about Sigurat, or the characteristics about our programs, is the convenience and flexibility, the dynamics, the real cases of study, and the professional development that you're going to have after finishing your courses. You're going to have different forms, contents, study area, and live streams. This is how the methodology of the master programs that we have. The master program in digital business is for all these professionals. There's not many people think when we are speaking about digital business that this is going to be focused for people who has done informatics or digital business, only e-commerce. No, it's provided for leaders and experienced executives who will have all the tools and the moment to program or lead the digital transformation in different companies. Okay, with real cases of study, with a professor who has been in the business, who has the experience to do so. They're going to give you not only the tools, but also the knowledge on the decision making for companies, including the digital transformation, no matter the size or the type of industry you're working with. The main features of this master program is that it lasts 6 academic months, starts on November 21st, 21 different models that are contained by 4 different blocks, and it has a 3-day summit here in Barcelona. It's 200 hours. It's for global networking, and it's 100% online. The faculty board, the director of the master, the academic director is Jordi Damià. He has been the master director, and he's the one who has put all the pieces together to do this program. Also with Anders Inseth, who's he has born in Norway, have been many years in Germany, leading the digital global business and making very good conferences, and he's part of the German Tech and Entrepreneurship Center. Also the Professor Luis Altes, they all together have been building this master with amazing professors like Robin Benninger, Olivier Van Duüren, Lydia Stoyanov, and David Claramont, who have been in different areas doing the digital transformation and leading different companies to success. Okay, The academic content, as I told you, it's 21 different models. The first one is Understanding Digital Foundations. It's more leading with an introduction to business. The second one is about the customer centricity and loyalty. It's directed on how to make your customers happy and how to attract new ones with digital tools. The third one is doing the operations right way, which I will tell you is a little bit which tools are you going to use in these different levels and departments of the company to make them even more profitable or make it work even better. And the fourth one is innovation and acceleration, which is the most innovative part of the master program, where you're going to have digital security, you're going to see a bit of artificial intelligence and more things. We have also the Barcelona International Summit. You're going to spend 3 days in Barcelona. Hopefully it's going to be very sunny for you, not only to enjoy the summit, but also enjoy the city. You're going to learn from the key experts in digital transformation. You're going to mingle and make a really good networking in one of the most important summits of digital business in the world. Describe the industry. I'm going, thank you for, I can see 2 questions already on the chat. Thank you really for your time, for listening to us and for your questions. I'm going to check now any questions that you have about the program. 1 second. The first one is the dates for the summit. Well, that was fast. The dates of the summit are going to be approximately from the 2nd or the 3rd week of June next year. So get ready and try to clear your schedules at that part of the year. The next one says, which are the other professors? The other professors are in the slides that we're going to send you, but as I told you, we have the Professor Robin Veninger, we have the Professor, obviously, Olivier Van Duüren, we have Edward Babulak, who are people who have been in the industry for many years. Many of our professors have worked in IBM as Professor Van Duüren, Microsoft, Coca-Cola, Banco Sabadell, which is one of the biggest banks in the whole Spain. And thank you for your questions. I sadly don't have any more questions at the moment to continue. If you want to know more about the program, to know how to enroll yourself or get to know a little bit more information, you can send us an email at digital@e/sigurat.com or in the website esigurat.com/digital. You're going to find more information about all the programs. And thank you, really, Professor Edward Van Duüren, Olivier Van Duüren. So it's so many professors at the moment. Thank you really for your help and for this masterclass. Thank you for the questions and giving us a little bit more of time. Goodbye and have a good day, everyone.